Hey everyone, it's Miss Karen. We have been working on the letter T. And can some of you think of some words that started with the letter T again? Maybe some critters? Or something that's alive, you know, like tree begins with the letter T. Trunk, the trunk of the tree begins with the letter T. Turtles begin with the letter T. So, we are going to make a turtle today from one of our crafty little non-assuming paper plates. This one you can use a couple different things to give it some color. You can use, crayons. Oops, sorry. You can use your crayons to give it some color. You can, in my case, I'm going to use been making all kinds of face masks, so I have some different scraps of material. I'm going to cut them and make like a little collage on here of material. You could use some tissue paper. So as I'm talking here, I'm going to set my plate aside. I'm going to start cutting some scraps here. And you might not be able, I can almost guarantee it, you won't be able to cut them with the safety scissors. Not material. You're probably going to have to get, some better fabric scissors, good utility scissors, to cut some squares with. But tissue paper works good. Different colored tissue papers. And there again, if you don't have colored tissue paper, you can simply take white and put some color on it with your crayon. Let it dry. Color it with your crayon or your colored pencil. And then give it some cuts and little squares. We want our pieces to be about 1 inch each. So a square inch. So you can pretend this is your tissue paper if you want, or construction paper. If you've got someone around that maybe does some quilting or have little scraps of fabric, just cut your fabric into like little 1 inch squares. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of making all my little strips here. Now not exactly the same size, but close. So then I just have to I can cut all the strips at once into my little squares without having to cut each individual little strip. You're going to get what I mean in like a hot second here. Okay, so I've got all my strips of fabric. In your case, it may be construction paper or tissue paper. Okay, if you want to do that like that. Okay, so now I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm just going to cut, see, roughly 1 inch squares. My bottom green might be a little bigger down there, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be exact. Okay, so I'm going to cut my squares. And I'm going to hope that this is almost enough. I'm going to leave that one alone. I'll cut you. You can go down, and then I'll cut you right there, and another one right there. And that one gets to be garbage. Okay. Now I'm just going to kind of sort my colors here real quick. It really doesn't matter. I mean, you don't have to because you're just going to kind of stick them on here. I'm a little bit OCD, so I like things kind of half sorted, not completely sorted. Like a little mess. If you saw my office desk, you would know I have a big mess. But when I'm crafting, I kind of like to have everything kind of halfway assembled so it's easier to put together at once. Okay, now we're going to come back to our paper plate. Okay, so we're only going to use half the paper plate for the shell. The other half we're going to use to make us the legs and a tail. Okay, so right now just kind of roughly fold your paper plate in half. Do not use the good fabric scissors. Take them away. Set them aside. Never ever use fabric scissors to cut paper. It'll ruin them for life and it'll get you in trouble too. So go back to your safety scissors. Okay, and we can just cut our little paper plate in half. Okay, so now this is going to be the shell. And it can be, either way. I think kind of with the scallop edge down. Makes a little more sense. Okay, so you have to work with me here. Okay, so he's going to have a little head over here. Here, let's kind of piece this out. That way you get a little visual where we're going. So he's going to have a little head over there. And some little feet. Okay, like so. And then, you know, we could put a little teeny tiny tail at the end. Okay, but just for the visual, this is kind of what we're working on here. And I don't like some of these green pieces quite so big. I think I'm going to cut them in half one more time. Maybe. There we go. And that one's kind of big. Now, there's a couple ways you can do it. Someone can put little dots of glue on the back of every one of these. Kind of takes a long time. Or just take some glue. Come on, glue. Let it sit out too long. Start to close up. Don't put glue on all of it yet because you have to hang on to it somewhere. So just kind of do like half at a time. Okay? Just kind of smearing all around. I'm not squeezing the glue anymore. I'm just spreading what's already there. Okay? I'm going to leave, you know, a non-glued area so I can hang on to something. Okay, so now we're just going to kind of put some pieces on. I might have to go back and apply some glue over some of these pieces. And we can do that. It's the great thing about this. So, like I said, I'm using fabric. For some of you, I mean, this may be the construction paper or tissue paper that you're putting down. See, now I can push them down because I've got them over the glue. Okay, I think I might want maybe a smaller one right there. Oops. Let me come back and get those edges in a minute. Okay, so now I'm going to put the glue on the other half because now I can hang on over here and not get my hands all gooey. Okay. So just kind of spread glue all over, and then don't squeeze it anymore. Just kind of use the tip to help spread it on your turtle shell. Kind of smear it around. Some of you might have the glue stick. I mean, glue stick would work great for the tissue paper. Tissue paper and this kind of glue is sometimes a little too thick, and the tissue paper takes it in too much, and it doesn't end up looking that great. So now I'm going to do this side. Oops, get back on there. Kind of like these little chevron ones. That seems kind of like a natural thing, kind of doing a turtle here. Let's see, and then I think maybe just a little yellow one right there. What do you think? Look pretty decent. Okay, so now let's kind of mock this up again. Okay, so when I say mock up, that means to kind of lay things out, but don't glue them down yet. Okay, just sort of like a little visual. Okay, so like our head's going to go here yet, and we still have 2 little feet to put down. Okay, so now we're going to set our tortoise shell or our turtle shell aside. Okay, boop. And we're going to let it dry a couple minutes, and we're going to take the other piece. Okay, now I'm going to use green. Yeah, come back. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off most of this scallop edge because it's going to get in my way. So I'm going to go right about in the middle of the scallops and just cut it off. Trying to use as much as just this one plate as I can. This part, bye-bye. Okay, so I'm just going to take my crayon and just kind of put some color all over this. Because this is going to be a head and a couple feet and a little tail. If you want a tail, that's fine. If you don't want a tail, that's fine too. I need a little bit more crayon. So if you ever need some crayon, if you find it getting up into the paper, just tear off a little tiny bit on the edge. Don't keep winding it all the way down because the paper actually gives your crayon support, so it's not breaking on you so much. Okay, now to make the head and the feet. It's kind of got to eyeball it. I mean, you know, feet, think of like a boot, a shoe, a foot without the toes. Okay, so I'm going to turn this. Nah, I don't think I'll turn it over. I'm gonna lose you there. Okay, so I'm going to take a marker just so you can see this better. We need to make 2 feet down here to cut out. So we got to have a top of the foot, okay, and it's got to come up a little to cut out. So we need 2 of those, okay. So I'm going to just make another one, kind of like right on top. So the bottom of our foot, and it comes up, like a little ankle part, and around and down. And I do it that way so I have room to make a turtle head, which kind of circly, kind of oval, just kind of go with me here. Okay, so we have a turtleneck, right? So a little turtleneck that's going to stick out and it's going to glue under the turtle shell. And then it's kind of this, almost, you know what? It's like a light bulb. A half a light. So it kind of comes out like a light bulb. You have to have someone probably help you with this. And then down, and then just kind of straightens off again. Okay, and then he has a little smile. And if you have a Google eye, you could glue that Google eye right there. Okay, so now we need to cut our pieces out. So I'm just going to separate my head from my feet. And I'm going to work on cutting my feet out. So see, this is really good scissor practice. Now, some of you, about 3-4 years old, you guys start getting, wanting to do more, especially with scissors and the glue, because, you know, you want to be a big kid. We get that. You know, we want you to stay little sometimes, but we understand you got to grow up too and learn how to do some of this stuff on your own. Scissor exercises, the coloring, painting, all really good for hand-eye coordination and learning how to, you know, make what you want to do in your brain come out, tell your hand what to do. Okay, so there, we have a head and 2 feet. Now, oops, I forgot a little tail. Tail we don't have to cut, so tail's going to be kind of a triangle. And from cutting my head, I have like a perfect little triangle right there. Okay, so now the rest of all those scraps, garbage. Okay, so now we bring our little turtle shell back. Still got a little wet there. Okay, so now we're going to take our feet. Okay, and we need to glue our feet under there. And we need to glue his little head under there. Okay, and we need to glue, let me get these pieces out of the way. Okay, and then we need to glue his little tail. Oops. Uh-oh. Foot down. We have a foot down. Uh-oh. I lost a foot. I am bad. Nope, I think I see it. Ah. Saved! I saved the foot. Okay, so what we're going to want to do, and here again are extra hand helpers. Might come in handy. I think I'll do his feet first. So just, you know, a little bit of glue on the feet. And I'm going to put my glue on both feet. That way I don't have to mess with it again. And so this one kind of looks the same. I will take my black marker and just kind of extend it over. Okay, so now I'm going to stick a foot up here and use my extra handy helper and clip it on. And then I'll put a foot back here. Okay. And I'll get my other handy paper clip. I only have 2 paper clips, so tail needs to be sticking out, so we're going to put a little glue on the end here. Set that aside a minute, and then we need some glue on our turtle head. So just on the end, because remember, we're not going to glue the whole head in there, just his end, the end of the head. So then his little head goes up here, and then the little tail goes under here. And I will just hold it for a minute, and hopefully it'll kind of stick. Or at least I can maybe move my paper clips. Okay, so now you're seeing, you know, here's a turtle. I mean, I think that's a pretty cool looking turtle. You know, using the fabric, it kind of gives it, you know, a little different dimension. If you had all kinds of different construction paper or the tissue paper, you know, reds, greens, blues, yellows, I mean, just, you know, the sky's the limit here. Just let them all, put them all on there. Okay, so here we have our turtle. Okay, so T is for turtle. So another craft for Miss Karen using one of our common paper plates that probably everybody has in their house. Little scraps of fabric. If you don't have the fabric, tissue paper, construction paper. Our head and our feet and our tail were made from the other half of our plate. Some glue. If you don't have little pieces of fabric, something else, and this is for another craft I'm going to do here in a minute. You could take some yarn even and just kind of weave it around. And turtle shells kind of have like this box shape to it. But you could kind of do this with some yarn for the turtle too. And then you could color underneath like a brownish or yellow and then get a contrasting piece of yarn and kind of, you know, snake around a little bit. I mean, that looks kind of cool too. So, I mean, whatever you have that you can, you know, give the turtle, you know, some color, you know, and crayons. Everybody's got crayons at home. Okay, so there we go. T is for turtle. I am Miss Karen. I hope you enjoyed making this paper plate craft. I think it was one of the, kind of the cool ones, kind of like the jellyfish that had the little things hanging down. Got to go find that one. All right, so you guys go make fun. Have fun doing this. And stay tuned and keep watching some of our videos.